This is a lesson on exponents. Let's do it together. 5 to the 0 power equals 1. 8.2 to the 0 power equals 1. X to the 0 power equals 1. The rule, if you haven't picked up on it, is anything to the 0 power equals 1. Now here's where it gets tricky. Ready? 5 times x to the 0 power equals 5. Let's talk about why, all right? This 0 power is only affecting the x because it's only connected to the x. This 5 is not being raised to the 0 power, only the x is. So x to the 0 power is 1. We saw that before. So 1 times 5 is just going to leave you with 5. This is a different situation. Now the whole parenthesis is being raised to the 0 power, so anything to the 0 power is just going to be 1. Okay? Here's another tricky one. The way I would read this is the negative of 6 to the 0. 6 to the 0 is 1, and this is the negative of 1. So this one's going to be negative 1, because again, only the 6 is being raised to the 0 power, not the negative. This is again is a different situation. The whole parenthesis is being raised to the 0 power. So it's negative 6 to the 0 power, which would give you 1. Okay? Now, if this one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you, look at it in a context. Okay? 10 minus 6 to the 0. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, order of operations, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. This subtraction has to be done last. The exponent gets done first. 6 to the 0 power is 1, so you have 10 minus 1, which is 9. And then if you cross this out, and you cross this out, you can see that negative 6 to the 0 is equal to negative 1. Same as we had over here. All right? Let's look at this one. 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. Negative 4 squared means negative 4 times another negative 4, which would give you a positive 16 as well. This one's different. Watch out. This is the negative of 4 squared. So this one is really negative 4 times 4, which is negative 16. Okay? And if you have a hard time seeing this one, again, take a look at it with some context, all right? 20 minus 4 squared. Well, 4 squared is 16. So this is 20 minus 16, which is equal to 4. The minus 16 and the minus 16 match, all right? Let's move on. You're going to see SAT problems like these two, where you're led in the wrong direction. A lot of kids get confused about whether they're supposed to add these two exponents or multiply them. And here, am I supposed to add them or multiply? Most kids will say, all right? So you're led to believe just based on the numbers. I think you're kind of tricked into saying, oh, 7 times 5 is 35. A must be a 5. Absolutely wrong. This one, 4 plus 1 is 5. Must be a 1. Absolutely wrong, okay? If you can't remember whether to add or multiply, remember these two simple examples. That's how I always straighten it out for myself. X squared means x times x, and x cubed means x times x times x. And if you write it out, you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. It's just x to the 5th. I now have refreshed my memory. I need to add them. 7 plus something is 35. The A must be a 28, okay? Let's go to the next sample. This little 3 wants you to take this x squared and multiply it by itself 3 times. X squared, x squared, x squared. Okay? And each one of these x squareds is 2 x's. And if you write it out, you can see the 6 x's. So this is going to equal to x to the 6th, and I've just refreshed my memory. I need to multiply. So 4 times something equals 5. 4 times something equals 5. Divide by 4, divide by 4. B is equal to 5 fourths. Sorry, 5 fourths. Okay? So don't be tricked. Use these examples to refresh your memory if you need to. This kind of problem. I've seen a lot of kids get lazy and they do this. They go, oh, this is just x squared plus 4 squared, which is x squared plus 16. Yay! No, absolutely wrong. It's not right. You need to FOIL this thing. You can't just distribute the 2 in. You have to do x plus 4 times another x plus 4. And if you do that, you're going to get x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. You would have missed the middle terms had you not done it properly. Okay? This one you can distribute the exponent in because there's no addition or subtraction sign. So you can go from here directly to 2 cubed, x cubed, and then y 3 times 3 is to the 9th. Or you could do it the old-fashioned long way and just take the parenthesis and multiply it by itself 3 times, and you're going to get to the same answer. Okay? So it doesn't really matter to me how you do it. Just make sure you get it right. A couple other things I want you to know. X to the 1/2 power, anything to the 1/2 power is the square root of that something. Okay? And taking something to the 1/3 power is taking the cube root of it. Okay? And if you have something to a fractional power, the number in the denominator comes out and the number in the numerator stays with the x. So this is going to be the 5th root of x squared. Okay? So keep that in mind. Situations like this will come up on the SAT. What I sometimes do is I just write it out. There are 3 x's in the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the bottom. Kind of be sloppy, it's okay. Cross them out. You're left with nothing in the top, so you put a 1 to hold this place, and you're left with 4 x's in the bottom. So it's 1 over x to the 4th. Okay? Next one. You have 8 in the top, 5 in the bottom. The 5 in the bottom will cancel with 5 of the 8 in the top, and you'll be left with 3 in the top. There's your answer. You don't need to put that 1 underneath. If you see a negative exponent, you need to flip it. Okay? This is in the numerator of a fraction. I can always put 1 underneath. And what I'm going to do now is becomes 1 over x to the positive 7. So if you want to make an exponent positive, if it's negative, flip it. Here's a good example to show you. 2 will just stay there. 2 is not bothering anybody. It's minding its own business. This x has a negative exponent, so the x is going to flip to the bottom and become an x cubed. This y squared is fine. It's going to stay in the numerator, and this z to the negative 4th is going to flip up and become a z to the 4th. Okay? So, if you keep all this stuff in mind, I know it's a lot. You may want to watch this video again. You will be on your way to maximizing your SAT score.